Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a review of the X-Eon Warsight, which is the epic variant of the X-Eon, which was added a good few months ago. I think it was like the second or third batch of DLC weapons are added into Infinite Warfare. But I got this recently from a supply drop, obviously, because it's in the Quartermaster collection. You can't craft it currently. Now there has been like a rumour that the Trencher is going to become craftable, which would lead you to believe other variants will be craftable as well, because I think the Trencher came out after the X-Eon, but we'll have to wait and see. I've no idea. The email that was on Reddit and everything said at the bottom that you have a chance to get the Trencher out of the Quartermaster collection hack, so I kind of doubt it's going to be craftable, but you never know. Basically, this gun has two perks, as every other gun in the game apart from common variants has. It has the epic perk, which is Threat Designator, and the common perk, Stability. So the Threat Designator makes it so the optic counters active camo, cold-blooded and hardwired, and Stability makes it so there's reduced recoil. I think it's reduced by like 3% or something like that, so it's not that noticeable, but it does help in certain situations. One big thing about this gun as well, which is the main reason I actually wanted the Warsight, is because the sight's actually different. So in the gameplay you'll see the sight is rectangular but on like the horizontal, so the longest side is on the top and the bottom and the shortest is on the left and right, whereas with the base X-Eon it's completely flipped. So it's vertically rectangular, which isn't a good description of it, but you'll know if you've ever used the X-Eon what the side looks like. But it's a lot slimmer and it's a lot taller, or it might be the same height but it's a lot slimmer, and it doesn't highlight all the enemies, and it also highlights them in a different way. I believe the base X-Eon side actually highlights them in red, whereas the Warsight highlights them in orange, and also uses the crosshair, which is pretty cool I think as well. This sight makes it very easy to see enemies and equipment, because in Domination, you know, if there's trip mines or C4 or like fire mines on the flags, the X-Eon Warsight actually highlights the equipment and makes it a lot easier to shoot it and detect it and everything. So that's a big use of this gun actually, and I don't think the base X-Eon does that either. But this gun, the epic perk says it counters active camo, cold-blooded and hardwired. This is kind of true. So active camo is completely countered. You can definitely see the people who are using active camo. However, from what I've read on Reddit, because I don't think I've ever encountered someone using active camo with the Warsight, or whilst using the Warsight, they appear fainter than any other enemy, so like it might be slightly less orange or something like that, so it's a bit more difficult to see them than normal enemies, but at the same time, everything's grayscale apart from the enemies, so it's still like easier to see them than if you weren't used out of the Warsight. Something that I find interesting though, from my use of the Warsight, the epic perk says that it counters active camo, cold-blooded and hardwired, which would leave no perks that are actually able to counter the Warsight. However, I have had multiple occasions where an enemy is completely invisible to the Warsight. They don't get highlighted, there's no crosshair, there's no nothing, and it's really annoying because it's really difficult to kill people who do that then, and you're better off just hit firing the gun because you're more likely to hit them, because everything's grayscale, so they kind of like camouflage in or, you know, fade into the background, so it's really difficult to hit them, which you don't see in the gameplay. But I read it up on Reddit because I didn't, like, the perks in the game don't say they counter the Warsight, because they would have had to have been updated for the Warsight getting added into the game, so that's why I assume they didn't do it. But basically it would appear as though cold-blooded actually counters the highlighting ability of the Warsight, so it stops them being highlighted in orange, but they get a crosshair still. And hardwired would appear to remove the crosshair and leave the orange highlighting. So this might be reversed, I'm not sure. I don't entirely understand what they mean by the Reddit post that I read, apart from the fact that it counters an individual thing of the Warsight, but it could be flipped. You know, hardwired might counter the crosshair or something like that, or hardwired might counter the red, or counter the red highlighting or orange highlighting. I'm not sure, but they counter something. And if you use cold-blooded and hardwired, it completely counters the Warsight, which I think it makes sense, because you can't just have a gun which is basically a thermal sight which cannot be countered, because that's annoying. But at the same time, it is an epic variant, and it does say it counters active camo, cold-blooded and hardwired, but it doesn't counter two of those things whilst used together, so I don't know, it's a bit strange, and they didn't say it in the perk description, so I don't know, it's a bit strange. Regardless though, we'll move on to aesthetics. The aesthetics of the gun don't really change. The actual shape and design of the gun don't change at all, apart from the sight and the camo. So the camo's orange instead of just being white. You know, it's orange and black, and the base X-Eon is just white, and obviously each other variant has the default variant skin. Obviously if you get the Mark II Warsight, it'll have the Mark II camo all over the gun. In addition to this, if you put a camo on the gun, which doesn't cover the whole gun, like Black Sky or Solar or Diamond, if you put on like a gun, or if you put on a camo which is like a quartermaster camo, for example, it will cover the main section of the gun, which is yellow, apart from the edges at the top. You'll see it in gameplay. I'm using the circuit board camo, and it leaves 2 orange strips, which you may or yellow strips, which you may or may not like, but I think it's pretty cool just having the 2 yellow strips on the gun. In addition to this, the other aesthetic change is just the sight. So like I've said already, the sight's a bit bigger and it looks more like a Trojan sight. I'm just going to say here, do not use a sight on the X-Eon apart from the iron sights, because the iron sights are what make the gun epic and what make the X-Eon basically. The base X-Eon highlights enemies in red. Obviously it doesn't counter active camo couplet and hardwired, but the Warsight counters these things, and if you put on a different sight it doesn't counter them anymore. Even if you use Trojan, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't counter active camo coupleted and hardwired. So if you really want to maximize your use of the gun, or effectiveness of the gun, you should really just not use a sight. Obviously it's preference, but I would just say if you're going to use a sight, you may as well use any other variant of the X-Eon. Because the main reason I wanted the gun was because of the sight and the way the sight looks. Everything else is just a bonus really. But that's it for the aesthetic changes really. The only things that change are the sight and the camo, like I've said. The rest of the gun's the exact same. And that brings us on to my opinion of the gun, and my use of the gun. So, I really like the gun. I really like the X-Eon to begin with. However, the sight in the actual Warsight looks a lot better in my opinion. It's a lot bigger, and I think it resembles the... I can't remember what the sight is because I haven't played Black Ops 2, but it's the sight which allows you to see through walls or something like that in Black Ops 2. It's similar to that, and obviously it's similar to Trojan sight as well, but just the way the recoil works kind of reminds me of that sight and gameplay I've seen of it. But I really like the Warsight sight, and like I said already, I really like the X-Eon. I'm sure that reduced recoil helps a wee bit. I haven't noticed it that much, but because the X-Eon does have a decent amount of recoil sometimes. It's a bit strange, the recoil, but if you've used the X-Eon you'll understand. It kind of just jumps around a bit, similar to the Volk pre-patch kind of. I'm not sure though. But the gun is really good. I really enjoy using it, and if it ever becomes craftable in the future, because it is in the Quartermaster collection currently, if it ever does become craftable, I would definitely have crafted it if I didn't already have it. Because I've really wanted this gun for ages, and I would definitely have crafted it if I didn't have it already. So obviously it's personal preference. If you like the X-Eon and you don't really want the Warsight just because of the sight, then don't get it, because there's no point. But if you really enjoy using the X-Eon and you quite like that sight, obviously you can spend your salvage on it, and I think it's really worthwhile purchase. But that's about it. Just a bit of an update in videos and everything. I've got Black Sky literally yesterday, so that's part of the reason why I didn't make a video yesterday, but hopefully this will make up for it kind of. But basically this weekend I'm planning on getting diamond weapon videos up Saturday, Sunday and Monday, which is a bit more than I would usually upload, but I want to get that series finished off because I've been really slow in getting those videos up. I did get classic weapons, secondaries and shotguns gold like last week, so they kind of all came through at the end, but I'm definitely going to try to get them up this weekend, and then I might upload a Dark Matter video, or not Dark Matter, a Black Sky video showing off all the weapons in the game of Black Sky. Now, I understand this is probably already been done, but it's more a point of completion for me, so I think that would be a pretty cool video to make for this following Sunday. But that's about it. Funny moments might resume, but I'm not too sure. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like, maybe even subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.